Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flicks Tidbit. My name is Chris Wong. This one tidbit is going to be all about the Justice League Snyder Cut. Pretty much an up to date till today, May 19th, 2019, 9 p.m. Hawaii Standard Time. This is up to date to now because really it changes often, right? You get a lot of things happening. There's always something new, something updated, something that's conflicted and changes. It always constantly changing. And after what was John Aaron Garza's Real Anarchy article, a lot of things have changed, including friends who are no longer friends anymore. Infighting has gone to a new level. People are taking sides and things like that. I just want to say, okay, and this is just me. Just want to say that John Aaron has dug up. He has been really influential in the Snyder Cut movement. He has dug up a lot of different scenes and the whole dark side mural, things like that, those types of things. So has been very influential to the movement, and I understand his article can be a little bit, as one would say, inflammatory towards the movement in a way, and saying how our things have not mattered and such, which I personally, in my opinion, don't believe. I believe that every single noise that we make, whether it be towards Warner Brothers or in terms of letters and showing the billboards and stuff, I think it all in a way adds to it. It's we're the free marketing. Okay, we're Warner Brothers. We're marketing for Warner Brothers. We're marketing into the public. We're marketing out there. The Snyder Cut. It's free press, free marketing, and that's how marketing works. Social media, billboards, advertisements, things like that. We are definitely marketing, and I can definitely feel that it's adding to the thing. But we'll get into a little bit more about that in a moment. But in any case, John Aaron Garza's article had stirred up a lot of stuff. Stirred up other podcasts like Pilly, Mr. West Ashley, um, and I know he had some really colorful language for John Aaron, Dave Film Junkie, but and that's his opinion, that's his perspective, and I'm all for that, and I'm all for all different types of perspectives, but it's an interesting thing that's happening right now, and considering that everybody has thrown in a part of the pot, thrown in a bit of the conversation to the Snyder Cut, and I think that part is what matters the most. That we're contributing in a way, every single buddy has contributed a little bit, whether if you threw in a video, whether you tweeted about it, whether you even talked about it, we all contributed to it. And I think I like this for Snyder Cut, the State of the Movement, Our Hero's Journey, that Chris Finaldo has talked about here. And he, in a way, is trying to also kind of make amends, but stepping back, and he knows that there's differences. I have differences with him, but I still respect him, and he still respects me. These things happen. But with that at RT Snyder Cut, it really brings us together. They really are committed at RT Snyder Cut, that administration, and I'm glad that they don't tell who they are, because it just makes it more of a symbol rather than a person or a group of people. It's a symbol. Snyder Cut is a symbol, and I think we all assembled in a way into that movement, putting away our differences and to concentrate on that Snyder Cut. So I encourage you to read this article. I'll link it in the description below. www.forsnydercut.com, The State of the Movement, Our Hero's Journey, Chris Minaldo, very great article. I highly recommend reading about it. But with all that in play, there is a lot of conversations about John Aaron Garza, and I've kind of briefly mentioned it. There are three things that came out in me and my takeaway that I've talked about, where we should direct it towards AT&T. A lot of people have kind of come to terms with that already. They've kind of felt that was the case when Warner Brothers hasn't been doing anything, and then after the AT&T Warner Media, people have been kind of directing it towards them. But it appears so that we have to gain that more direct, right? Like more so direct towards that. So Zod Rider had put out a little thing, and Zod Rider I respect greatly, and I believe him as well of what he's heard as well from whoever that person is. But he wrote this on Twitter. He said, "Oh boy, now I'm another a-hole with a source. Damn it, she works for Warner Brothers and says currently AT&T and Warner Brothers are at odds over what to do about the Snyder Cut. She confirmed some of what Sir John Aaron Garza and Dave Pina have been telling us for a while now. Don't get hopes up, San Diego Comic-Con 2019. And I've already talked about that highly doubt they're going to say anything about Snyder Cut at San Diego Comic-Con 2019. The hashtag Project Comic-Con is a recruitment campaign to gain more supporters, to gain more audience for this movie, to this movement." He also tweeted out, "I'm too positive for this kind of stuff. It kills my zen. You know what, though? I'm honest, and I tell it when I hear it, no matter if it's good or bad. Everybody needs to keep fighting at RT Snyder Cut." She said AT&T is looking into monetary elements. Walter Hamada is a Zack Snyder supporter and wants the cut released. San Diego Comic-Con 2019 is not even on the radar because some of the higher-ups don't even want to discuss anything related to Justice League. In spite of what Jason LeBoy, he's a photographer, has said, our letters were received by Warner Brothers, and my source claims Walter Hamada was touched by the fans' outpouring of support for Zack and future DC projects. She also confirms Zack's cut is done and that Junkie XL finished the score for it. That's all the information I have so far. The takeaway for me was that we keep applying the pressure and doing what we are doing. I'm happy to hear that Hamada is allegedly on our side at RT Snyder Cut. So that's fantastic news, and for some of you that's not fantastic news, but for me it is. And if it's true that Walter Hamada is in support of Zack and his and future DC projects, I can't be more happy with that, because that means there are supportive. There are people who are in support in the execs area, that because we don't want them all to be not supportive, right? We need somebody up there to be supportive and be that voice of reason, if you will. And it's seeming like AT&T is the one there looking into the monetary elements. The other thing that's interesting that she said that she also confirms Zack's cut is done and that Junkie XL finished the score for it. So there is something about that, right? And I'm going to talk about that because even John Aaron Garza says, threw a number out there, which I think we shouldn't really throw numbers out because we're not really in the know of what the actual numbers is, or how big or not big that is, because I think we should really concentrate on the movement and concentrate on the Snyder Cut rather than trying to fight over each other about how much numbers and how much is done. We know that they have it. We know they have a version of it. And saying things like, oh, it's going to be 40 million or 30 million, it's hard to understand that at our level, right? Without actually knowing what that actually means. What I mean by that is that for a lot of people that sounds like a lot, but maybe it's not. Maybe that's for a company like Warner Brothers, who can throw out director's cuts. They throw out extended editions like Kingdom of Heaven. Kingdom of Heaven had a theatrical cut. They had a DVD and stuff. Then Ridley Scott went in there and threw in another, said that's not my cut, said I'm going to make a cut, director's cut, threw in 45 minutes extra footage, and then threw it out into the market, and that sold like crazy. And without anybody really asking for it. Okay, nobody petitioned for it. At least I don't think so. I've tried to look, but nobody has. But they threw it out anyway. Blade Runner had so many different cuts until the final cut. Nobody asked for that either. The Donner cut, people asked for that. But that came out a long time later. But a lot of that money came from Richard Donner himself. So that's something to be said. But you got Watchmen. Watchmen had a lot of cuts, had Ultimate Editions, things like that. The Lord of the Rings, that had a lot of final cuts. And you can say maybe it's easier just extended cuts, sure. But anything that needs additional cuts, that it needs money. And some may say that it may be it's always in the millions, and they have to digital do effects and stuff like that, put it on a Blu-ray and stuff like that. So it needs money. So if Warner Brothers and entertainment business everywhere are willing to throw out extended editions and cuts like that, without even a hint of marketing, without even someone in social media saying they actually want it, and they're just throwing out there and hoping to get money, why are they looking at us and seeing how much the Snyder Cut movement has expanded, how much we're in pop culture, how much the social media fans? I'm sure there is an algorithm that can equate what social media, all these letters, all this campaigning, all this stuff would actually add and equate to what percentage the regular general audience would pick that up. We're making noise. Those other editions that came out, almost zero noise, nothing, but it came out regardless. It came out regardless. So it really intrigues me to wonder why AT&T would think, and even Warner Brothers, at a certain extent, think that they need to see some kind of number. Well, if they really wanted to see how much interest this level is, they would have thrown out like a 3-minute trailer, showing this is the Snyder Cut, and just to throw it out there and see if anybody bites, and I'm sure it will. But because they haven't, they're looking at for us to do that marketing for them, apparently. And it's very weird and intriguing. But I want to say that that part really confuses me, on how they're trying to look into monetary elements when you actually see the social media presence right there, as opposed to other editions where you've seen like zero social media presence. And why did they release it then? Like, wouldn't that have stopped them? Like, I don't get that at all. By the amount of money. I'm no expert on budgets. I'm not. I'm just a dude sitting in a chair, right here with a shelf in the background. But with throwing out numbers, $40 million, like that, you go to movies like such as Annihilation, which is, I think Annihilation is $40 million. The production budget of an entire film, Annihilation. And that's that sci-fi movie. It has a lot of special effects. They had to hire everything. The entire production budget of a film like that is $40 million. Okay. The other thing here is, say, District 9, right? I know this is 2009, and you add your figures in but for the sake of just in comparison, District 9, you've seen that. There's robots, there's aliens, there's a lot of stuff in there to be handled with. Almost a 2-hour runtime movie. The production budget on that alone, on that one single film, is $30 million. Then you got Deadpool, and everybody knows about Deadpool. That production budget was $58 million. Its whole film production is that amount of money. So I'm trying to wonder, and I don't really have too much of an answer, but they're saying that a movie that is mostly complete with needs minor VFX, and needs to pay some of those actors some residuals. I'm not sure how that works. But all those little things, and I mean little lightly, right? But those little things for a movie that's mostly complete, and for Zack Snyder says it's done. Now, when I say it's done, it doesn't mean it's maybe finished. Maybe there's two meanings to that. Done meaning he laid it out, and Jay Oliva said this, it just needs some minor VFX work or some incomplete VFX work, but it's all laid out and stuff. Why do entire movies can be made, and I like to stress Annihilation because that is a beautiful flippin' movie if you ever saw it. But you watch that and you look at the production budget and it's like $40 million. Then what does minor VFX and stuff like this have to be about $40 million to complete a movie that's almost already complete? I mean, I just don't understand that figure, and I wish someone would actually tell me what that actually means. But I'm just looking at it from the outside. I have no sources. I'm just a dude, and looking at the numbers, and I'm just questioning what other things are in the Justice League Snyder Cut. Who do they have to pay? Do they have to pay those residuals and stuff like that? Gavin Downs and Will Rowlands, both actors in the industry. Will Rowlands recently did Dumbo. Gavin Downs I've had on an interview. By the way, I want to talk to Will Rowlands one day. But Gavin Downs, he was on Suicide Squad. He was cut from Suicide Squad, but he was able to talk about that he was in it, but not the context of the scene. And you can check out my interview if you need some context. But they both had talked to John Aaron on Twitter. And I'm not putting anything on John Aaron. I'm just saying that whoever the source told John Aaron, we need a little bit more clarification. So, but basically he says that Gavin and Will says that when the contracts for them to appear in the movie, the contracts are made. They're already contracted to appear in the film and to get the money to be paid for their roles in the films. They also have in the contract in terms of residuals, meaning residuals is what you get when your character appears on screen on TV, later showings of the film later on, you get residuals from that. And it seems like there's a thing called a buyout. I don't really know what that is, but there's options for a buyout or residuals, and it's already something that they signed beforehand. So if that's signed and approved beforehand, then what's the problem? Why is there a need? Why is that 40 million budget include things that need to be paid out to the actors and actresses and cast and crew members afterwards if they were already contracted to be paid from the beginning? Unless there's something illegal there that I don't know about, but that's something I question altogether. So you see the predicament here in terms of throwing out a budget. It's hard to look at that and actually have a decent conversation unless things are shown, things are in the open, and it just muddies the water when people at the SnyderCon, and I've also in attendance hearing that Zack Snyder said it's done, it's complete, yet also incomplete of VFX and stuff like that, but and that's fine. Junkie XL scoring, but maybe not mixed into the movie, so that's something else. Maybe you can't even use Junkie XL's score because it's, I don't know, owned by Warner Brothers or something. So it's all money, and it's really kind of distracting in a way. I know you're curious, and I am curious too, but I think the only way we can find out is when Warner Brothers actually tell us about it, right? And when Warner Brothers actually says something. And I think we should really get on. It's great to speculate. I'm not saying don't speculate. I'm not saying like that, but I don't think pointing fingers is going to work in anything. But this is the situation right now. Warner Brothers probably has a cut that is mostly done. It's done. Maybe there's incomplete VFX. We don't know at what point in time this source or whoever, at what point in time that cut that they're referring to that's incomplete, but it's mostly done. Who knows? We know they have it though. We know Zach knows they have it. Zach even has versions of it. Maybe he's financing his own editing of it. I don't know. We don't know. The only people who know is Zack Snyder and Warner Bros., right? So I'm just saying that I think we should stop fighting about it. I mean, or we should stop fighting about it. I mean, then come together and let's focus on the movement. Let's focus on getting more people to show that we want this movie really bad. We want this movie because this movie represents, and I've said it so many times, and it's like preaching, but this represents artistic, creative integrities, justice for the cast and crew members. This is the livelihoods of people here, and for films from now on. Warner Bros. Wants to show their director-driven film driven company, and we have to put the money where their mouth is. And so that's where we're at. I mean, it's very confusing, and we can discuss it and talk about it more, but I think a lot of it we should really just push towards the Project Comic-Con and the Snyder Cut. Of course, that doesn't mean that Warner Brothers may not have something up their sleeve, right? And this is coming from Zod Writer once again. From new tip from source, he says, allegedly a Justice League Extended Edition is heading exclusively to HBO in January 2020. This makes me nervous because an Extended Edition isn't the same thing as a Director's Cut. So, at RT Snyder Cut OF. So yeah, we've heard, some people have heard rumors about an extended cut for a while. I think Mario Robles even had mentioned that once upon a time. And extended edition is not what we want. Like, if extended edition, unless Warner Brothers really wants to just like not say that that's not the movie we made, we really messed up. If they're really thinking about their own characters here, then yeah, they'll just call it extended edition and then be done with it. But in order to call it a director's cut, it would need Zack Snyder's approval, right? And because of the Directors Guilds of the DGA, the rules state that the studio cannot throw out a director's cut or a movie called the director's cut without the director's cut approval. So without Zack Snyder's approval, this extended edition is not the director's cut. And the director's cut, and it's almost like he's giving us this hint, right? At the Snyder Con, he literally circled 214 minutes. 214 minutes. That's the director's cut. If we get an extended edition in January of 2020 and it comes out to 2 hours and 15 minutes, we know that is fake, because it should be 3 hours and 30 minutes. That's where everything comes and it makes sense, and we know that they're trying to rob us of this thing, or they're trying to do a compromise, and we will never compromise because we already know we are too far from the truth. Are you stupid? Like, we're not idiots. We're not going to look at that and it's like, that's the Snyder Cut. Of course, there's going to be a lot of bloggers and hit pieces and things like that says, look, guys, you guys got the director's cut. It's called the extended edition. And we're going to have to fight that battle once again. But we will continue to, because, we're not the only ones fighting for this, right? I'm happy that the cast and crew members are fighting as well. You know, Ray Porter had put this out at RT Snyder Cut to the fans and my new friends. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of feelings along with it. I'm so proud to have been welcomed by such kind people. You all rock. Never lose a joy. All the gods, all the heavens, all the hells are within you, Joseph Campbell. You know, another Ray Fisher, also always championing for the Snyder Cut because he's the heart of the film. Cyborg was the heart of the film, and they ripped that heart out of that movie, and we need them to put it back. And we need Darkseid to appear because he was such a big role in Justice League, and they took out that major character. Ray Porter was probably going to have a great role. He's something he can put on his resume, something that he could tell every other studio that wanted to hire him. They took that opportunity from that man, and we believe it should be put back. And not only that, but Zack Snyder himself. Zack Snyder himself supports this. Okay, Mick D put this out. He puts out that Zack Snyder actually liked the RT Snyder Cut campaign, the Project Comic-Con campaign, which reached over $9,700. It's probably $10,000 by the time you see this, but people are donating like crazy to this thing. He even commented, "This is awesome." So he's very well approving of this Project Comic-Con. He knows about it. He's talking about it. He's commenting on it. He's liking it, and he's with us. He's with us all the way. In fact, almost like a shot in the arm, if you will. Zack Snyder posted this today. This is a shot of a scene in the Snyder Cut. We see Cyborg fully VFX digitized with Flash in the background in the deleted Star Lab scene with a little comment that says, "That's more like it, and that's a tear." Now, Not really sure what that means. We believe that when he says that's more like it, meaning he's referring to the comment from before when someone asked if that ending scene of Cyborg's upgraded armor was his, in which Zack Snyder says not mine. So maybe after a while he finally decided to share this is his version of Cyborg, and there is that. Also, possibly very big spoilers. If you don't want to know, you can skip this right now in this 5 seconds, but I'll tell you when to come back. But spoilers, Ray Fisher's father dies at this moment or is dead at this moment. I'm sorry, Victor Stone. So Silas Stone is dead at this moment, and that's why that's a tear. There's that as well. All right, spoiler done with that. So in any case, Zack Snyder had posted this almost like a shot in arm, almost telling us to reinvigorate us, as a lot of people's hopes were coming down. They were infighting and stuff like that, but it's kind of reinvigorating. All our conversation, all our energy is diverted to this image now. It makes us a little bit more stronger. Of course, at the same time, we go back to the conversation about VFX is done or not have done, and that's always, it's just going to be the case, I guess. But I think this just pumps us up more, I think, and puts us back into the media. Some people are writing about it. Maybe tomorrow there'll be more people writing about it, and I hope they do, because it deserves to be seen. And look at this black and white shot. It's incredible how much that detail is on the armor there that has been so milked away in the movie, right? And they really changed it up. But we really need to see this. We really need Warner Brothers and AT&T to work on this and give us the movie that we all deserve and stuff. So, and we will continue to fight for it. In fact, the next campaign that is not part of Project Comic-Con, Fiona had put this out. Help me find the others like you. You have 5 days. She put this out from today until Friday, 24th of May. Each of you is tasked with finding one new person to join our Justice League. There are currently over 3,600 of you following this account at RT Snyder Cut, helping raise the volume of our collective voice. If each of us brings one new person, this number will double. Let's all try to achieve this by Friday, and when you bring someone new, introduce them in a tweet tagged with at RT Snyder Cut, so we can welcome them also. Hashtag release Snyder Cut. So this is a great thing to do in the meantime while we get ready towards Project Comic-Con. There's a lot more things that RT Snyder Cut is going to be involved in and arranging, including like maybe letter campaigns and things and such. And this is just one of those easy digital things that you can do. One person, guys, find one person. I'm going to try to find one person. I think they are, because I do have people following me, and if I could just get those people who are following me to follow at RT Snyder Cut, I think that we've accomplished quite a bit. And that goes for every single one of you. If you guys can find somebody that you can tell them what the Snyder Cut is, get them into our into our group, that's great. And I love how a lot of people out there, including this person at Too Much Food, are going out there like McD, like Nerd Queens is going to do, and going to these cons, including this, I think it's a Motor City Comic Con or something. He had put out a sign talking to people with that Release the Snyder Cut sign. So I think that's something really fantastic people are doing on the street at the ground level, and I hope this continues to Project Comic-Con, which I really think it will. Project Comic-Con has reached a new height, like level 3. We've passed the air banners, we passed the billboard, and now they're on to putting ads in magazines, in the trades. Project Comic-Con team is incredible. You guys out there are incredible. I want to help. When this is all said and done, we should get all your names and recognize all of you, because this is fantastic level that you've done, putting all your time and effort and your resources into this. Amazing work, Project Comic Con, and I fully support it. And I hope this promotes a little bit more, and hopefully I can send more people down your way in order to fundraise this thing. But it looks like you guys are doing well on your own, but you could always use more. I understand that. So Project Comic Con, congratulations on level 3. I don't know, the sky's the limit, man. We've got couple more months. You could I don't know how many levels you want to go to, but it looks like it's going up there. So congratulations to hashtag Project Comic Con and everybody that is going to be involved in the San Diego Comic Con 2019 event. But until then, it's going to be a while until we get the Snyder Cut. And there's going to be a lot more conversations, a lot more people who claims they have sources and things like that. We're going to get through all that, sure. But one day I truly believe we're going to find the truth. Truly believe we're going to get to see it. But until then, there's one movie that's coming out. And this is something really special. Chris Dawson, S.C. Dawson author. I've talked about it. It's called the Justice League Black Suit Edition. He released his trailer 2 today. I'm going to link that trailer in the description below. Please check it out. It is incredible. Music's by our own Geraldo Cortez. He's even have people who voice acted some things. I mean, I'm wondering who voice acted Darkseid in this thing. I think it may be Chris or somebody else, who knows. But it's amazing. This is a movie that's totally different altogether. I mean, it's like a reimagining of Justice League. So even though we're not, it's going to be a while between here and the Snyder Cut, feast your eyes on this. This is going to come out, and it's going to be something really special. It's probably the most ambitious fan edit of the Justice League we've ever seen. And once you see it, your mouths would drop. Your mouths would drop, and you're like, wow, this is some amazing stuff. And I can't wait to see the final product. So Chris Dawson, what incredible work. I know you're not going to get any sleep from here until you release, but we appreciate everything you do for this, because this just gives us a little bit more a palate cleanser, if you will, for people who don't like the Joss Whedon cut. Hey, you know what? If the extended edition of the Justice League comes out with more footage, maybe Snyder footage, it'll just be more stuff we can work with in these fan edits, right? More stuff we can speculate on. So there is, I guess, that. But until then, we're going to keep fighting. Warner Brothers and AT&T, release the Snyder Cut.